what is one major theme that it has in common with Animal Farm? Remember, Animal Farm is about, in some ways, it's about this, right? What's the one phrase in Animal Farm that sort of represents this idea? It's the statement that Old Major makes. And it's the idea that's sort of repeated again and again, but we know it's not true. All animals are what?
Equal.
That's right. All animals are equal. So egalitarianism is the idea that all the animals or all the people would be equal, similar, alike, right? That there wouldn't be any differences, right? So let's say that this is the major theme that connects Animal Farm to Fahrenheit 451. Egalitarianism. All animals are equal, right? So we've had that explained that, well, it's an equal distribution of resources and power, right? So we have a definition, and we want to say, well, this is a starting point for comparing Animal Farm to Fahrenheit 451. Because remember, what I've been trying to show you is that what you want to do is you want to take what you're reading, and you want to use what you're reading to understand what you're reading next, right? So take what you've read and apply it to what you're reading. We've read Animal Farm, now we want to apply our understanding of Animal Farm to Fahrenheit 451, right? Okay, so we've got our definition. Now, let's say we want to make an egalitarian society. Let's say it's the purpose in Fahrenheit 451 of the government to make an egalitarian society. How would the government go about doing that? Now remember, one of the criticisms that we had of egalitarianism in Animal Farm, and we see this with the pigs, for example, when the pigs make rules, do the pigs make rules to benefit themselves first, or to benefit all the animals?
Themselves first.
Okay, so pigs have a preference for pigs, right? We could call that an expression of like the family, right? The family is going to have a preference for itself over strangers, right? So this would seem to get in the way of egalitarianism. Would you agree? Okay, so the family is an obstacle to egalitarianism. This is why we really don't have egalitarianism on Animal Farm, because the pigs prefer other pigs as opposed to all the other animals, right? So the pigs are always at the top and all the other animals are below, correct? Okay. So if the family gets in the way of egalitarianism, if we're a government and we want egalitarianism, what do we have to do to the family? Do we want the family to be strong, or do we want the family to be weak? Weak. All right. So we look at Fahrenheit 451, and we say, well, let's see if we can come up with some examples of weak families. Because we started with Animal Farm, right? We started with our knowledge of Animal Farm. And our knowledge of Animal Farm told us that one reason that egalitarianism could not work in Animal Farm is because the family of pigs had a preference for the family of pigs over all the other strangers on Animal Farm. In other words, all the other animals, right? So the pigs put themselves first, and they put all the other animals second, right? So that's an inequality, right? So if inequality exists, then this statement isn't true, right? So that means this is part of the reason that egalitarianism fails on Animal Farm, right? So then if we, in Fahrenheit 451, if we're looking at it from the point of view of the government, we want an egalitarian society, one of the things that we have to do is we have to weaken the family, right? Okay, so what are some examples of weak families in Fahrenheit 451? Yep.
I think they kind of separated families from their family members.
Ah, okay.
Everyone has the seashell kind of earphone. They listen to the video instead of talking to their family members. And in the book, they rather talk to the so-called relatives in the wall instead of her own husband.
Okay, yeah. Let's start with the relationship between Montague and Mildred, right? So this is our first example of a weak family. Now, it's again, if we're looking at it from the point of view of what we've read in Animal Farm and why egalitarianism fails in Animal Farm, part of the reason that it fails is because family members have a preference for themselves. We look at the pigs as a kind of family that prefers other pigs as opposed to other animals. So there's inequality, right? And that inequality is reinforced throughout Animal Farm. So now, if we're looking at it from the point of view of the government that wants to create egalitarianism, we have to get rid of a strong family. So what are some signs that families are weak? Well, let's look at this relationship between Montague and Mildred. When we first meet Mildred, in other words, the first night that Montague gets home in the book, what does he find? What has Mildred gone and done? Yep.
She took too much pills. So.
Too many sleeping pills, right? So Mildred tries to kill herself. All right, so now think about it, right? If you're married and your partner, your wife or your husband tries to kill him or herself, what does that say about the nature of your relationship to that person? Do you have a close relationship with that person? No, right? I think this would be a sign that they don't have a close relationship, right? What's another sign that Mildred and Montague don't have a close relationship? What does Mildred spend all of her time doing?
Watching TV programs.
Watching TV programs. She watches TV so much that what does she call the people that she sees on TV?
Family.
Yeah. So, TV becomes Mildred's family. All right. Now, think about this. The time that Montague is sick in the book, Montague asked Mildred to go in the parlor and turn off or turn down the TV. Does she do it? No. So even for her own sick husband, she won't turn down the TVs. Right? Okay. Now, Montague himself is busy. What is his job?
Fireman.
He's a fireman. And what do the firemen do?
Burn books.
Burn books. Now, Think about what takes up a majority of his time. How does he spend the majority of his time? Does he spend the majority of his time home with his wife, or is he at his job as a fireman? What impression do you get? Where does he seem to spend a lot of his time? Yeah, he spends a lot of his time working, right? So Montague's at work, right? So now these are 5 points that show us that the relationship that Montague has to Mildred and Mildred has to Montague, it isn't a close family, right? It's a weak family association, right? So now think about this. Why would that be to my advantage if I'm the government, right? Why would I want the family to be weak? Well, let's say I have a rule, right? Rule A, right? But the family has rule B. Now, if it's a strong family, what are the family members going to choose? Are they going to choose to follow rule A, the one that I want them to follow, or are they going to stick with rule B?
Rule B.
Yeah. If it's a strong family, they're going to stick with rule B, right? So there's going to be a conflict between what I want as a government and what the family desires, right? So I want to make sure that that relationship among the family members is weak, so that they'll see the government as a kind of father figure, as a kind of parent, right? So that they'll do what I want them to do and not what the other family members want them to do.